They say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you out of felony charges. Thank God the NFL pays the big bucks so these men can continue beating the shit out of women off the field and still make it to Sunday's game. Really warms your heart, makes you believe in the American dream. Work hard, throw a ball, good. Choke your employees, minimal consequences. Land of opportunity.
Breaking right now on WBZ, New England Patriots star Stefon Diggs is facing serious criminal charges. We have just obtained paperwork from Dedham District Court indicating that the wide receiver is charged with felony strangulation or suffocation and misdemeanor assault and battery. This is stemming from an incident back on December 2nd. Diggs is scheduled to be arraigned on the charges in Dedham on January 23rd. That is just 2 days before the AFC Championship game.
So, as if these NFL players don't get enough time to beat the shit out of each other on the field, they seem quite determined to bring their work home and beat the shit out of their wives, girlfriends, or in the case of Stefon Diggs, whoever's on their staff. At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we introduce an official NFL to ICE agent pipeline. Streamline the whole process. And speaking of Diggs, real quick, before we get into that, I'm Lauren Paritra. If you're tired of watching NFL teams rally around players accused of violence against women while pretending it's just an employee dispute, hit subscribe. I'm one person with one camera documenting patterns that everyone seems to see but not talk about, and most media outlets keep tiptoeing around. Help me out, please. So, Stefon Diggs allegedly didn't pay his private chef. She asked for her money. He went into her bedroom, slapped her across the face, choked her, threw her on a bed, and called her a liar. And when she came back to get her stuff, they told her she had to sign an NDA before they'd pay her. She said no and went to the police, and she filed charges. And his response, it was just an employee-employer dispute. His lawyer's response, it didn't happen, but we're also working on a financial settlement for the thing that never happened. His team's response, we support Stefon beating the shit out of his chef.
The wide receivers' attorneys were in court this morning for a hearing, and we are working to learn more about the incident that led to these charges. We did reach out to the Patriots for a statement. We have that for you here. It says the New England Patriots are aware of the accusations that have been made regarding Stefon Diggs. Stefon has informed the organization that he categorically denies the allegations. We support Stefon. We will continue to gather information and will cooperate fully with the appropriate authorities and the NFL as necessary, out of respect for all of the parties involved. And given that this is an ongoing legal matter, we will have no further comment at this time.
Translation. We still want to make money off of him. And because of that, we will absolutely positively look the other way at credible reports of him behaving badly, as long as it's against women, because we don't actually care about them. We care about Sunday. We care about playoffs. We care about ball. We care about the fact that he's got 82 catches and 970 yards a season, wins, revenues, the brand, in that exact order.
We want to bring in Dan Roach now to talk about this with us and the impact, Roachy, that this could have for the team, for the playoffs. We've been on such a roll. How does Coach Vrabel make sure that this doesn't become a distraction for them?
Well, Brianna, I think it's very early in the fact-finding part of this as far as just what happened, how it happened, when it happened, who was involved, and everything else, which we haven't seen or heard yet. So I think that's the first part of it. And then the second part to me is that he categorically denies it when it comes to what happened. So we're going to have to find out the story. Beyond that, I can tell you that as a veteran, a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver coming in, there were questions about Steph Diggs and, how would he behave? How would he handle it? A lot of the number one wide receivers could be divas, if you call it, at times. And he has been nothing but a role model, a perfect citizen in that clubhouse or locker room for this New England Patriots team. So much so that he's emerged as a leader. The players look up to him. I think the coaching staff certainly respects him. And everything that he's done in a Patriots uniform has been good for the team. In fact, just the other day, post-game, after their their win over the Jets down in New Jersey. He was speaking in the locker room talking about being 30 yards away from being a 1,000 yard wide receiver, I think for the 7th time in his career. And he had knee surgery last year and came back. And I think it meant a lot to him. He was almost, to me, kind of emotional, almost in tears, saying he just wants to win, that these milestones don't mean as much to him anymore in his career. At this point of his career, he just wants to win, loves this team, and wants to be a part of them trying to win a Super Bowl. So, like I said, it's again, nothing surprises me, in sports anymore. But I think for everything that we've seen and been with the guy from day one here in that Patriots locker room, he's been nothing but a role model citizen. So we shall see how it unfolds. But from my perspective, he's been everything you want as a teammate, as a leader, as a New England Patriot so far.
Yeah, Rochi, certainly a lot of positive things ahead of him. He's a dad, has a new baby with Cardi B. But again, here, the breaking news, he is going to be arraigned 2 days before the AFC Championship. So we will see what happens. We will stay on top of it. Rochi, thank you for your insight, as always, here.
So, unsurprisingly, his arraignment is 2 days before the AFC Championship game. Talk about convenient scheduling. And look, I know it's hard when your heroes fall. Trust me, I loved Gwen Stefani, and now she's peddling forced birth propaganda. Life moves on, and it comes at you quickly. You'll get through this. Maybe find a new team. Maybe accept that professional athletes are just people who are really good at sports and not moral authorities. Maybe stop acting like defending somebody accused of choking their employee is just team loyalty.
And of course, the charges themselves may seem self-explanatory to lay people, but there's always a lot to it. We want to enter in WBZ legal analyst Jennifer Roman here to help us make sense of all of this. Jennifer, first things first, we have a felony charge and a misdemeanor charge. Can you explain each one or both?
Sure. So the felony charge would carry with it a much more serious sentence than the misdemeanor charge, and it would include the potential for imprisonment in the state prison versus just the regular jail. So the nature of the charges make them very different. We don't know if it's a strangulation or a suffocation at this point. We don't really know what the facts are supporting these allegations, but that is definitely the more serious charge of the two. The assault and battery would carry a sentence up to 2.5 years in the House of Correction as a misdemeanor if convicted. Whether or not somebody gets if convicted, whether or not somebody actually receives the type of sentence they receive depends on the nature of the crime, whether or not they accept responsibility in any way, show remorse, but also whether or not there is a prior criminal history here that would support a harsher sentence. So as this all sort of still is unfolding, we really don't know a whole lot. We'll know more at the arraignment later in January. That should provide some more details about what the allegations are and would shed some light on what potential sentence could look like if he's actually convicted.
Okay, so you mentioned that arraignment. That's January 23rd. There was this motion hearing today. Can you explain briefly, lay terms, what a motion hearing is?
Sure. It's just a way to ask the court to do something that you want. So in this case, the defense is making a formal request that the file be impounded, which would keep it out of the public purview, would keep it away from the press. Those types of motions, when you're talking about somebody who has the kind of star power that Stefon Diggs has, are not usually granted because we do have public interest in these very public figures. So much of their life is already public. There's not really this heavy privacy interest here. So I would be surprised if the judge allowed the defense motion to impound this file and keep it out of the public purview, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of stuff there. All right, Jennifer, thanks so much for your time. And that January 23rd arraignment is on a Friday, just 2 days before the conference championships.
Choking their employee is just team loyalty. This is just deeply depressing. And here's what's really remarkable about this story. Absolutely fucking nothing. This is completely standard operating procedure here. You could create a Mad Libs for NFL violence allegations. Team name, position, allegedly insert violent act, insert women's relationship to player, and then the team says that they support player and are gathering information on said player choking his chef or wife. His attorney says the allegations are unsubstantiated or motivated by money or just a little misunderstanding. He will play This Sunday, after a little suspension where there's no games anyway, please focus on his yards, touchdowns, leadership qualities. Fill in the blanks. It works every time. Prove me wrong. Employee, employer, financial dispute. This is brilliant legal reframing. She says he didn't pay her and he got angry and assaulted her. He says she's mad about money and making things up. Never mind, I didn't pay somebody and they allegedly choked them. It's just two crimes. The people framing makes people think, well, maybe she is just mad about money, as if unpaid wages somehow contextualize strangulation. This is the logical progression here. You didn't get your paycheck, file a complaint with HR, got slapped and choked while not getting your paycheck. Well, now it's a little complicated, you guys. There's a backstory. And the NDA demand, sign away your right to speak about what happened, and then we'll pay you the money we already owed you for the work you already did. People who did nothing wrongly famously require extensive legal paperwork for fulfilling basic contractual obligations. This is very, very standard with powerful men. Like how every time you finish a project at work, your boss makes you sign a document promising to never discuss at that time that they definitely didn't assault you before releasing your direct deposit. His defense team is working on a monetary resolution, not a proving his innocence kind of thing, a monetary resolution. Which, I mean, like, call me crazy, but the thing in this scenario says this didn't happen quite like, how much money would you make, or how much money would it take you to stop saying that this ever occurred? Felony strangulation charges get full organizational backing from the Patriots, of course. But kneeling during the national anthem, a totally different conversation. Entirely, it's better respect the flag and organizational values. The NFL said they're aware, which is a great start, and in contact with the team. The holy trinity of inaction: aware, monitoring, and in contact. They should add that to the Shield logo. NFL extremely aware since 1920. This works because the playbook is tested. Let's talk about it. Ray Rice knocked out his fiance on video. Got 2 games. You get 4 for smoking weed, but the message was clear. Knocking out your fiance isn't half as bad as cannabis use. Very proportional discipline system we've got going on here. Deshaun Watson was accused by over 24 women. Got $230 million fully guaranteed before his suspension. More than 24 allegations. And the Browns said, here's $250 million, no conditions, fully guaranteed before you serve your suspension. The math says his arm matters more than 24 real-life human women, adult women. Tyreek Hill pleaded guilty to strangling his pregnant girlfriend in college. Still drafted, investigated for child abuse years later, still playing, multiple Pro Bowls. The strangulation thing, ancient history. He's a different person now. Please do not Google the child abuse investigation. Focus on his speed. He's very fast, very good with ball, incredibly fast, way faster than the pace of accountability. And Jameis Winston was suspended 3 games for groping and Uber driver. 3 games. Tom Brady got 4 games for deflated footballs. The NFL values equipment and its integrity more than women's bodily autonomy by 33%. You do the math. Ben Roethlisberger was accused of sexual assault twice, suspended for 4 games in total, played 18 seasons, Hall of Fame eligible. 2 accusations of sexual assault equals a 1-month suspension and a legacy of as a franchise legend. Very, very reasonable career consequences. Those numbers matter more than the police report, more than strangulation being one of the strongest predictors of future lethal violence. More than a real-life adult woman saying she was choked over unpaid wages. But he can catch a football in a way that helps teams win, that helps generate revenue. So the Patriots didn't say, well, wait for information. They said, we support Stefon. Present tense, unconditional. The organization already decided what matters. Sunday playoff, the fact that replacing a starting receiver this late in the season would be logistically complicated. Strangulation allegations are logistically simpler. Just say, we support them, and wait for the monetary resolution to kick in inevitably. What makes the system beautiful in its efficiency is the NFL has discovered that you don't actually need accountability if you have really good PR and a short news cycle and a lot of money. Just wait. Something else will happen. Another story will break. Fans will focus on playoff implications by Sunday. This will be a footnote. By the Super Bowl, it will be completely forgotten. By next season, it never happened. And if she doesn't sign the NDA, if she goes to the police, let's just frame her as a disgruntled employee with financial motivation. Never mind that she refused money in exchange for signing the NDA, which suggests her motivation might be something other than financial. Don't think too hard about that part, though. Just remember, employee-employer dispute, money, timing, suspicious. The woman alleging strangulation gets investigated more thoroughly than the strangulation. The NFL has built this industrial infrastructure for processing violence against women. Accusations go in, monetary resolutions come out. Players keep playing, teams keep winning, and everyone moves on. Like a car wash, but for felony charges against violence against women. Ray Rice, Tyreek Hill, Greg Hardy, Jameis Winston, Kareem Hunt, Deshaun Watson, Ben Roethlisberger, Stefon Diggs, different teams, different years, same response. Support, deny, settle, play ball. The consistency is something. Like, really, it's like a really depressing lullaby, I guess. Diggs will probably play on Sunday. The case will probably settle. The NDA will probably get signed for a higher price than initially offered. And in 6 months, there will be another player, maybe not even 6 months, maybe like a couple days. Another player, another accusation, another we support him statement, another monetary resolution to something that definitely didn't happen, but costs money anyway to make it all go away because the pattern works. And it's worked for decades. We'll keep working until it becomes more expensive to ignore the violence against women than to address it. And currently, ignoring it costs absolutely nothing. Addressing it costs wins. The math is simple. It's very professional, very American, very football. And if you think teams should maybe not immediately support players accused of strangling their employees, subscribe, share this. The NFL has billion-dollar PR teams erasing all these stories by kickoff. I've got a laptop and a lot of spite. So even the odds, hit that button, help a sister out, and we'll be back with more.